This is Earl Nightingale, and today I want to speak to you about the keys to greatness. There is a quiet law that governs our lives, as fixed and unwavering as the rising sun. It does not shout or demand attention, and yet its influence is felt in every corner of the human experience. This law is simple, so simple in fact that most overlook its depth. We become what we think about. Our thoughts are not idle. They are not passing clouds. They are the architects of our future. They shape our character, our habits, our choices, and the very circumstances that surround us, whether we are conscious of it or not. Each thought we entertain sets a course. Every repetition of an idea, every mental image we return to, is like laying down track for the train of our life to follow. Consider for a moment the nature of thought itself. It is invisible, weightless, untouchable, yet it builds empires and ruins alike. A single thought, nourished by attention and belief, grows, first into a conviction, then into a behavior, and eventually into a life. Think of a person who wakes each day and fills their mind with purpose, possibility, and gratitude. Our external world, our work, our health, our relationships, is a mirror reflecting our internal world. What we think about, we move toward. What we dwell on, we begin to attract. Like a compass fixed to true north, our lives are drawn in the direction of our dominant mental images. The great tragedy is that most people think only in reaction to what happens around them. They allow the world to shape their thoughts, rather than using their thoughts to shape the world. The moment we realize we can choose our thoughts, that we can direct the current rather than be swept away by it, is the moment everything begins to change. Thoughts are seeds. You may not see the harvest today or tomorrow, but it will come. No one plants a tree and expects shade by sunset, but plant the right thought, nurture it with belief and action, and in time it will grow into something unshakable, something real, something that carries you farther than you thought possible, and it works in any direction. Think often enough of failure, and the mind will begin to seek ways to confirm it. Think often of success, not fantasy, but a clear, steady vision, and your mind becomes an ally, searching for paths, people, and patterns that will make it so. We are not held captive by our past. We are not defined by where we began. The only thing that defines us, truly deeply, is the direction in which we habitually think. Thoughts are not harmless. They are not trivial. They are the most powerful tools we possess, and the most dangerous if misused. They are the first cause of everything that follows. First the thought, then the emotion, then the result. Think poorly of yourself and the world seems colder. Think with dignity and you rise. Think with clarity and confusion fades. Think with hope and the path appears where once there was only fog. We are the sum total of the ideas we allow to take root and grow inside our minds. Each morning brings the opportunity to choose which thoughts we will carry into the day. There is a quiet dignity in the idea that within each man, each woman, no matter their background or station, lies the seed of greatness. Not greatness as the world often measures it, not simply applause or accolades, but the deeper greatness of purpose, of direction, of living a life that matters. This greatness is not issued at birth. It is not granted by chance or by favor. It is not something to be waited for, begged for, or stumbled upon. It is built carefully, patiently, and the tools for that building, the keys, already lie in your hands. They are not locked in universities. They are not hidden in secret codes. They are not sold in stores or passed down in fortune. The keys to greatness are the same today as they were 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. They are thought, attitude, and action. And every individual, regardless of their present conditions, possesses them. History gives us countless examples of this truth. But perhaps few illustrate it as vividly as the story of Abraham Lincoln. Born in a one-room log cabin in the Kentucky wilderness, Lincoln's early life was marked by poverty, loss, and relentless struggle. He had little formal schooling, perhaps a year in total. His family moved frequently, chasing survival. His mother died when he was just 9. He split rails to earn a living, taught himself law by reading borrowed books late into the night by firelight. He failed in business, lost in love, was defeated in election after election. Most would have quit. Many did. But Lincoln carried something that cannot be measured in material terms. He carried a vision, a conviction, a belief that he could shape his life, and perhaps even his country, through persistence, learning, and principle. He did not wait for permission. He used what he had. And what he had, though the world could not see it, was more than enough. He thought deeply. He studied men, ideas, history. He sharpened his mind like a blade. He treated people with respect, even when they mocked him. He acted even when the odds seemed insurmountable. He failed and acted again. In time, the rail splitter became the president. The man who had lost so many times became the one who held a broken nation together. What changed? Not the world. His circumstances were as rough as any. What changed was his use of the keys he already possessed. Lincoln is not remembered for privilege or genius, but for character, clarity, and quiet strength of thought. He stands as a reminder that greatness is not a stroke of luck. It is the result of inner mastery, of using what you have, your mind, your attitude, your will, with intention. This is what it means to say you hold the keys to greatness. It is not poetic fancy, it is a practical truth. The mind, when directed, becomes a compass. The attitude, when chosen wisely, becomes a sail. An action, steady and deliberate, becomes a ship that carries you forward across unknown waters. There are many today with every resource money can buy, yet they remain aimless because they lack direction of thought. There are those with every comfort, but no peace because their attitude has been left to drift. And there are those with talent beyond measure, yet no progress because they do not act. And then there are others, quiet figures in every corner of the world, who begin each day with a clear idea of who they want to become. They guard their minds, they speak with purpose, they step into life with quiet courage, not because they were handed greatness, but because they began to use the keys they already had. The mind is a miraculous thing. It asks for so little and gives back so much, more than we often realize. But it behaves according to a law that is as old as life itself. It will return what you plant. Like fertile soil, it does not choose for you, it does not judge the seed, it simply receives what you give it. Fear or faith, hope or worry, purpose or aimlessness, and it sets to work. Most people, if they owned a small piece of farmland, would be careful about what they planted. They wouldn't scatter poison ivy among the tomatoes. They wouldn't drop handfuls of weeds and expect a crop of wheat. But when it comes to the mind, our most fertile field, they are careless. They let any thought take root. They dwell on limitation. They replay old failures. They give fear the best soil and water it with attention. And still they are surprised when they reap anxiety, indecision, and regret. But just as surely if you plant useful, purposeful thoughts, thoughts of growth, of kindness, of progress, your mind begins to transform. It becomes an engine of creation, a magnet for right ideas, a servant that delivers what you ask for, consciously or not. This truth has been known by every wise person through history, and one example shines through with particular clarity, the story of George Washington Carver. Born into slavery during the final years of the Civil War, Carver had every reason to believe that his life would be one of limitation. He was orphaned as an infant, he was frail, often sickly, and barred from formal education for much of his youth because of the color of his skin. But Carver had one powerful gift. He treated his mind like sacred ground. As a child, he wandered the woods in search of plants, not just out of curiosity, but out of wonder. He spoke of nature as if it were alive and teaching him. He would sit for hours, drawing, experimenting, asking questions no one around him could answer. But still he pursued them. And in doing so, he planted the seeds of discovery. Eventually, he walked, yes, walked, miles to attend a school that would accept a black student. He worked as a cook, a janitor, a farmhand to pay for his education. At times, he slept in barns and on porches. But he never let bitterness take root. His thoughts were fixed on usefulness, on contribution, on what he might do with the gifts he had been given. And in time, those early seeds bore extraordinary fruit. Carver became a world-renowned agricultural scientist. He developed hundreds of uses for common crops like the peanut and sweet potato, not to enrich himself, but to lift up poor farmers in the South. He restored depleted farmland through crop rotation and soil improvement. He believed deeply that God had given man the earth and the mind to understand it, and it was man's duty to learn how to work with it. What is most remarkable is not just what Carver discovered, but how he did it, through thought, through deep, sustained mental cultivation. He did not seek fortune or fame. He sought understanding, and his mind, richly nourished with gratitude, curiosity, and service, yielded far more than knowledge. It yielded greatness. Carver once said, "When you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world." That uncommon way was the product of a mind planted carefully, tended daily, and harvested over time. Every thought you choose is a seed. Plant anger, and you may grow resentment. Plant worry, and you may grow paralysis. But plant belief, true, steady belief, and you may grow strength. Plant vision, and you may grow direction. Plant kindness, and you may grow joy. The mind will not argue with you. It will not ask if you are sure. It will simply grow what it is given. There are moments in life, quiet, unnoticed moments, when the entire course of our journey is set, not by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond. And the steering wheel of that choice is attitude. Attitude is not simply a mood or a passing feeling. It's the settled lens through which we view the world. It's the emotional posture we adopt in the face of life's weather. It's sunshine or storm, and more than almost anything else, it determines where we go, how far we travel, and how we experience the journey. A man or woman can be talented, educated, experienced, but if their attitude is cynical, resentful, or fearful, the doors of opportunity close quietly around them. Not because the world is against them, but because their energy repels the very things they claim to seek. On the other hand, someone with modest resources but a resilient, hopeful, determined attitude often finds paths that others miss, because their mind is tuned to possibility, not limitation. Picture a sailor on an open sea. The wind will blow where it pleases. It cannot be controlled, but the sailor's hand is on the rudder. His sail can be adjusted, and depending on how he sets it, the same wind that dashes one ship against the rocks will carry another safely to harbor. Attitude is that sail. The storm does not choose the outcome. The sailor does. This is not theory. History and daily life give us example after example. Consider the story of Helen Keller. She was struck blind and deaf before her second birthday, locked in a world without sound or sight, unable to speak or understand language. Her early years were described as a kind of living shadow. Frustration, isolation, confusion. But when her teacher, Anne Sullivan, entered her life, everything began to change, not just because Helen learned words, but because something deeper was awakened. A choice to grow, to persevere, to live with purpose despite unimaginable odds. Helen could have chosen bitterness. Many would have understood if she had. But instead, she chose curiosity. She chose determination. She chose gratitude. And that attitude, unyielding, luminous, became her true guide. She went on to become a world-renowned writer, speaker, and advocate. She graduated from college. She inspired millions, not because she was handed anything, but because her inner direction was set by a spirit that refused to dwell in darkness, even when darkness was all she could see. Your attitude, like Helen's, is not dictated by conditions, it is chosen. Again and again, it is shaped by what you allow yourself to dwell on, what you say to yourself when no one else is around. It is forged in silence, in struggle, in the invisible corners of your inner world. There are people who walk into a room and lift it, not because they speak loudly, but because their energy carries warmth. They look for what's good. They expect to grow. They face setbacks with grace. That attitude, over time, becomes a compass. It draws others in. It opens doors. It builds a quiet momentum that carries them forward even in the face of adversity. Why others, with all the same advantages, walk into life already defeated, not because they lack ability, but because they believe the worst. Their words are laced with complaint. Their thoughts are tilted toward failure. And so the world, like a mirror, reflects back what they project. The direction you face determines the path you walk. If you aim your mind toward growth, your actions will begin to align. If you face life with the spirit of contribution, of possibility, of strength, you will move steadily toward people and opportunities that resonate with that same energy. No one escapes life's difficulties. There will be loss, delay, disappointment. But attitude determines whether those moments shape you or shatter you, whether they become stepping stones or stumbling blocks, whether they are endings or invitations to begin again on firmer ground. Attitude is not about pretending things are good when they aren't. It's about deciding to meet life with your shoulders back, your eyes forward, and your spirit unbroken. It is the difference between drifting and navigating, between merely surviving and deeply living. It is the unseen force behind every long-term success and every quiet act of courage. There is a moment in every life when the idea becomes clear, when the vision takes shape, when the dream speaks louder than the noise. But even then, for many, it remains just that, a vision, a dream, a thought, not because it lacks power, but because it is never acted upon. And yet, the truth is plain, written across every page of human achievement. Nothing changes until we do. Nothing moves until we move. No matter how grand the goal, how noble the intention, how detailed the plan, without action, it remains stillborn. Action is the bridge between who we are and who we wish to become. It is the difference between wishing and working, between wandering and arriving. The man who studies a map all his life but never takes a step will never see the world. The woman who dreams of writing but never puts pen to paper will never know her own voice. And the most important step, the one that separates those who live fully from those who merely exist, is always the first one. The decision to begin. Not tomorrow, not when the timing is better, not when all the details are perfectly arranged, but today, right now. As you are. There's a reason this is hard. Action demands courage. It forces us out of the mental comfort of someday and into the raw terrain of effort, uncertainty, and growth. It asks us to face the mirror and admit that we are responsible for the life we are creating. But it is in that responsibility that the power lies. Every great figure you admire, from inventors to artists, from leaders to builders, had to begin somewhere, and most of them began without certainty, without applause, often without even much support. What they had, what we all have, was the choice to act. Take Thomas Edison, for instance. We remember him today for the light bulb, for 1,000 inventions, for transforming modern life. But in the beginning, Edison was just a curious boy who loved to tinker. He had barely 3 months of formal education. He sold newspapers on trains. He was partially deaf by the age of 12. But he began, he acted, he experimented. He failed, over and over. He once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Those weren't just words. They were a reflection of a relentless spirit, fueled not by immediate success, but by daily action, step after step, try after try, not waiting for perfect conditions, but working with what he had, where he was, with the tools he could find. And slowly, inch by inch, the world began to change around him. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. You don't need to be extraordinary to take action, but action is what makes you extraordinary. The first step doesn't require mastery. It only requires movement. Write one paragraph, make one phone call, take one walk, read one page, save $1, say one kind word. These are not small things. These are the beginnings of empires, of books, of businesses, of better relationships. But you must begin, not because you feel fully ready, but because readiness comes after motion. It comes through doing. Confidence is not a prerequisite to act. It is the reward of acting despite uncertainty. Every day you wait, the vision dims slightly. Every day you delay, the habit of delay grows stronger. And yet every day you take action, even in the smallest way, you send a message to yourself and to life itself. I am serious. I am committed. I am becoming. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. And now, though humble, is more powerful than any dream postponed to a better time. The great secret of success is not hidden in books or locked in vaults. It is found in the one who gets up, sets their aim, and begins to walk. There comes a point in a person's life when they begin to wonder, what more is possible for me? What could I become if I truly lived each day with purpose? These questions arrive quietly, often in the stillness of an early morning, or the pause between one obligation and the next. And while they may seem small, they are the beginning of transformation, if you are willing to act on them. The 30-day challenge is not a trick, nor is it a passing fad. It is a quiet revolution, a deliberate, personal experiment in thought, focus, and self-direction. It asks only one thing of you. For 30 days, think intentionally about who you want to become, and hold that thought before you like a guiding star. Not once, not occasionally, but every day. For 30 days you commit to planting one dominant thought into your mind, clearly, confidently, with purpose, and you nurture it with attention, repetition, and belief. You remind yourself of your goal morning and night. You carry it with you through the hours of the day. You act in ways that align with it, however small those actions may be. You guard against negativity. You resist doubt. And when distractions come, as they surely will, you return to your vision, like a ship returns to its compass. It sounds simple, and it is, but it is also powerful. Most people never give their full attention to a single goal for 30 consecutive days. They drift. They start and stop. They let their thinking be ruled by circumstance, by the news, by gossip, by fear. And so their lives become a reflection of that scattered, reactive thinking. But this challenge invites you to break that cycle, to take control, to become the master gardener of your own mind. Because as we've said before, we become what we think about, and what we think about consistently, daily, deliberately, with emotion and direction, begins to reshape our beliefs, our actions, our results. Now you may ask, can 30 days really make a difference? Let's look to history for the answer. Consider the story of James Allen, the quiet British philosopher who lived in the early 20th century. He was a man of modest means with no formal acclaim. He worked as a clerk, supported a family, and lived without luxury. But he made one decision that changed everything. He would test the power of thought on his own life, not in theory, but in practice. For weeks and months he trained his mind like a muscle. He studied the great thinkers. He watched his own moods, habits, and reactions. And he began to write, not to impress others, but to clarify the truths he was discovering for himself. One of those truths became the foundation of his most famous work, As a Man Thinketh. In it he declared that a man is quite literally what he thinks, his character, his circumstances, even his destiny. And he proved it, not with slogans, but with experience. His words, born from personal challenge and quiet discipline, have now inspired millions for over a century, and their origin was simple. Daily, focused thought, repeated with intention. This is what the 30-day challenge offers you. A chance to prove through your own effort that thought is the starting point of all change. That by choosing one goal, one clear image of the life you desire, and holding to it with steady attention for just 30 days, you begin to awaken forces within you, mental, emotional, and spiritual, that remain dormant in the passive mind. It could be anything. A new career, a healthier body, a stronger relationship, greater confidence, a deeper sense of peace. Whatever it is, the method is the same. You define the goal, you hold the thought, you take daily action, you refuse to be discouraged by the ordinary noise of life, you become the watchman at the gate of your mind, allowing in only that which serves the vision you have chosen. And day by day, quietly, something shifts. Your words change, your posture changes, opportunities begin to appear, ideas begin to flow, not because of magic, but because you have changed. You have aligned your thought, your attitude, and your action toward a definite purpose, and life, like a mirror, begins to reflect that clarity back to you. This is Earl Nightingale, reminding you, we become what we think about, always have, always will. Your attitude is the prophet of your future. No dream can walk without your feet. You are not a product of circumstance. You are a product of thought and decision.